Hello and welcome to Simply Race for the final round of the Simply Race British Championships. Today we will be using the Brands Hatch GP circuit for the showdown in both our championships. So the first races that we'll have today, we'll have two Clio Cup races, and the drivers are currently out in their qualifying session. We've got quite an exciting championship finale coming up in this championship because we've got just 6 points between Luke Bennett, championship leader, and Christian Kelly, who's in second position, and then just a further 8 points back to John Curry in third. So we've got three drivers potentially who could win this championship, and I think we've seen already today that the qualifying, those same three drivers have been at the top, Sean.
Yeah, we have indeed. I've actually got them on this lovely bit of paper because I don't have a clipboard, unfortunately. But Luke in first, Christian in second, and John Curry in third, which is exactly the way they line up in the championship. There's only a second. There's a second between the top five, but like you said earlier, it's a long lap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a long lap of this Brands Hatch GP circuit, so the times may be slightly more spread out than we're used to, but it's great for the championship. We've got those top three drivers at the front, and we're really hoping for an exciting showdown in the next two races to come. So I think we're going to go ahead now and join the final seconds of the qualifying session for the second race. Joining the session here just as Ben Brown's had a bit of a moment there coming out of Dingle I think. Not what he wants to do. He's currently in fourth place at the moment, so he's putting a half-decent time already.
It's not a bad time. I wouldn't suggest aiming for the barriers is a good way to get a better lap time, though.
He's obviously reached that point where he's just pushing for that little extra bit of time.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people in this championship. Ooh, and this is John Curry, I believe, currently sitting third in the championship. He's looking quite strong this weekend too. Yeah,
and he's currently third. We know he qualified third for the first race today, and this session he's third again. So at the moment we've got the same order really. We've got Luke Bennett currently on provisional pole position, Christian Kelly, and then John Curry, who we're watching here, sitting third.
Yeah, and Bennett's got quite a bit of a lead. Oh, Sybil's just jumped up into second, I've just seen. So he's cut between the two championship rivals, and that might cause a bit of problems in the race as well.
Yeah, great lap from Sybil, 1:36.8. He's still half a second off Bennett, so I suspect that Kelly in particular will be thinking he can do a better lap time than he's done so far and just try and get back in front of Sybil. But Sybil's been one of those drivers who, we saw in the first session actually the fastest, the pole lap was 1:35.2. So, and Kelly himself did a 1:35.4, so he'll be thinking it's a bit more time to come. But yeah, Sybil has definitely been, he's fourth in the championship, and he's definitely been one of those drivers who's been snapping at the heels of the front runners all season.
A little bit of a fight with Ben Brown at the moment, and I think Sybil gained a little bit of ground on him in the last race, but Ben Brown still wants to try and finish ahead of him if he can.
Yeah, there's only 2 points separating Sybil and Brown in the championship, so they're fourth and fifth. So yeah, definitely a big fight going on there. And yeah, Sybil definitely does show good pace. Has shown good pace throughout the season, really. So not surprised to see him in amongst it. But we'll see if Kelly and possibly John Curry can get past him before the end of this session. We've got only 38 seconds left. So drivers on their final laps now. So at the moment then, Bennett 1:36.3. That good half-second gap back, just trying to see if anyone else is still on a flying lap. We're watching Bennett here. And in the corner of the screen you can see that is John Curry, I think we're looking at there, in the white and orange Clio. And Curry's just gone to provisional pole. 36.2 right at the end, his very last lap. Bennett can't beat it.
No, and that's it. Bennett's going to have to start the best from second, and he might even go lower down than that if everyone else puts in a good lap time.
Here comes Kelly. This will be his final lap.
He does improve. He goes up into third place, so...
So we have got the top three in the championship, just in a slightly different order. John Curry with a brilliant lap there, 1:36.273. Just pipped Luke Bennett, and then we've got Christian Kelly in third position. So and Sybil again fourth. So yeah, should be interesting just to have that slightly different order. John Curry clearly got pace today.
Definitely got pace today. He had pace last round as well, and he threw the cat amongst the pigeons. If things go wrong for Bennett and Kelly, there is an outside chance of him actually winning.
Yeah, he's 16 points behind, or 16 points off the lead of the championship. So, and with 20 points a race, win 2 races today. It's possible if something goes wrong for the guys up front.
I'd say seriously wrong. I have to kind of hedge my bets there. Yes, you can probably get there, but it's going to be very hard to get there.
Yeah. So top 3. Then we've got Sybil, then Ben Brown 5th, Ben Bennyworth 6th, Chris Wilson 7th, Colin Talbot 8th, and then we've got one of our guest drivers. Ostas Avram will start 9th, Michael Boulding will be 10th, and then we've got Cleaver, Cook, Purves, Sounton and Malpass.
Avram was actually here at the last round. He did very well as well.
Okay.
He kind of stayed out of trouble, and just made his way through the grids. And he's actually quicker than he lets on, but he's new to the championship.
He's done a decent lap time there. Well, 1:37.6. So yeah, be interested to see how he gets on right in the middle of the pack there. So I think we're going to take a short break, and then we will return for the first Clio race of the day. the first race of the day. The Clios will be heading off on their formation lap, I believe, shortly. We've got our main championship contenders all at the front for this one. We've got Luke Bennett in the black and yellow car there, will be starting from pole position. Christian Kelly will be alongside him on the front row, and John Curry will start third. So, using the Brands Hatch GP circuit today. So a great circuit, a very enjoyable circuit to drive. Not that many places to pass on it, but it should make for some exciting racing, I think, with these Clios. Alongside me, Sean King, to give his insight into this championship and this track. So what do you make of this track, Mitchell?
It's actually one of my favourite tracks. I think it's just because I'm British, I love it so much. But it's always good for a really good group of racing. So you've got a big group of people going around the track. It's got a big long straight at the back of this one on the GP circuit. It won't be as close, I don't think, as it was on the Indy circuit, but it'll still be some really close racing.
Yeah, some nice high-speed corners as well around parts of the lap. And yeah, well, I think we're going to see a real great showdown to this championship here today. So we're very much, the championship is quite tight. There's just 16 points covering the front three, and they've really been the class of the field for most of the season. Luke Bennett is currently leading with 150 points, Christian Kelly is 144, and John Curry with 136. So anything can happen, and we've got those three at the front. Ben Brown will start fourth, Bennyworth is sixth, and Sibbald. Bennyworth is fifth, and Sibbald will start sixth. So yeah, also some fast drivers just behind these guys who will be looking to get in the mix at the front, see if they can interfere with this championship at all.
They probably will try and interfere, especially when you've got Ben Brown and Ed Sibbald both fighting for position in the championship. Obviously, it's advantage Ben in this race because he's ahead of Sibbald, fourth on the grid, with Sibbald in sixth. And Ben Bennyworth is no slouch either. Yeah,
definitely. There's quite a battle going on between Sibbald and Brown. They're only 2 points apart in the championship, so they'll be scrapping for every point they can get as well. So we can see a couple of the Cam Sport cars there. That's Michael Boulding there in the sort of rather extravagant purple livery.
It's good to see Michael back. He wasn't here at the last race, but it's good to see him back in this one. This is Cleaver from one of the Positively Racing guys. Very nice livery too.
Yes, we've got several Positively Racing cars on the grid. That's Cook there with the orange on the front of his Positively Racing livery. And then we've got Cleaver and Sibbald as well, also running a sort of.
And then at the back of the grid, we've got Purvis, Malpass, and Soughton in the Anytime Fitness car.
Yep, so Bennett there in the yellow on the left, Kelly on the right in the predominantly white with flashes of purple and black, and then Curry just behind him with the orange, so predominantly white Clio with the orange is there, and then Ben Brown on the right-hand side in the Anxiety UK sponsored car. The lights are about to go out. And they're away for the first race of the day. A brilliant start by Bennett. He seemed to get a really good launch, and he's already got several car lengths from Kelly in second as they head down to Paddock Hill Bend for the first time.
A scolded cat out there he was, straight out of the box. And Curry's got back his third place down towards Paddock Hill. This is a great start for the race.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant launch by Bennett. He just seemed to, the car just rocketed off the line, and he was clearly on his own into Paddock Hill Bend. So it was a clean start. Really, everyone's got through Paddock Hill, and everyone's got around Druids, which is quite tricky.
You say that, but I see something going on in the background.
Something has happened on the exit of Druids there. It looks like I could see someone rolling over, but the front group have got through. So Bennett, Kelly, Curry, Brown's fourth, Sibbald's fifth, Bennyworth sixth, and then Boulding has had a good start. He's up to seventh.
I think we'll have a little chain going now. Oh, here's the replay. Let's see what happened. Oh dear, I think that's Avram.
And Malpass has been turned round.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, sort of. I think they got locked together a bit there. Actually, it looked like they both got pulled off the track. That was Avram and Malpass. So they'll have a bit of recovering to do. They're now down 14th and 15th. Back with the leaders now. Then we're watching John Curry there in the running in third place at the moment, just in front of Ben Brown, and then Sibbald in fifth.
Just heard from race control as well that Avram, who's currently 14th, will have to give the place back to Malpass after the incident earlier. So that's not going to be too fun for him, but I'm sure he'll understand why.
Yeah, so Avram will drop back to 15th and Malpass will be 14th. So we've got 16 laps of this circuit to do, so a reasonably long race in these Clios, and of course tyre wear is a big consideration on these cars on a track like this, and on all the tracks we've been to this year. So the drivers do have to try and manage their tyres as best they can throughout the race.
We had this first round of the championship, and the tyres really took a cooking throughout the entire race. And Ben Brown won both those races at the start of the championship, so it's a shame he's not fighting for it right now. But because there's a long straight going down Pilgrim's Drop, you tend to get a little bit of time to cool tyres off this time round, so they won't cook as much as they did last time round.
Yeah, so clockwise circuit, so I guess left front is the main problem?
Left front is the main problem, yeah. Especially when you start screeching the tyres. That's not the best way to get life out of them.
Yeah, so what you want to try and do is not slide the car too much, I suppose, and just try and keep it on the limit without going over that limit and scrubbing the tyre across the surface.
Sybil's thinking about this move, but it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah, down Pilgrim's Drop there into Hawthorne Bend, and Ben Brown defending from Sybil. Sybil's trying to get underneath him as they head up to Westfield. It looks like he's got an overlap.
He's got the inside line for this corner.
Brown's turned in on him a bit there. It's very tight. And Brown's off onto the grass on the outside, so Sybil's got the move. And that's Bennyworth, I think, as well. Is it getting past Brown? Yes, it is at Dingledale.
Yeah. I think that was a very strong move there from Sybil. Had every right to hold on Brown around the outside, he just couldn't make it stick. Yeah,
he just ran a bit wide. Once he got two wheels on the grass there, that fast corner, it's very difficult to get back on because the tracks continue going right.
Yeah, it completely drags you out. It looks to me like Bennett's making a breakthrough already at this point in the race.
Yeah, Bennett is absolutely set off like a rocket, and he's pulling away. He's doing good lap times. He's done a 37.4 already on the last lap. That's the fastest lap of the race. And yeah, he's opened up a gap, a 2-second gap really over Kelly already.
And we have Brown trying to overtake Bennyworth down the inside.
At Druids, yes, he looks like he's got the inside line. Can he now get a good exit and get across him into Graham Hill Bend? Bennyworth is still there.
Oh, that was close. Just enough room for both of them. That was great driving.
Yeah, Ben Brown did enough there. He just got far enough in front of Bennyworth to be able to turn across the front of him without any contact, so good driving there. And we've got Sybil now is right up behind John Curry, look, so Sybil's flying at the beginning of this race. He's up 2 places already.
Yep, and he's got a slipstream coming down this straight. Let's see if he pulls out to make a move.
So similar to what he did to Ben Brown, coming down to Hawthorne, he's having a look.
Had a second thought about that one.
Yeah, can't do it there. Now we're coming to Westfield Bend. I think he's just going to sit in behind now, just try and get a bit closer. And now they come to Dingledale, and yeah, he's just sitting there, just having a look. I think trying to follow Curry's lines,
waiting for an opportunity that might present itself.
Yep, through Stirling's now, and then they head down towards Clearways. Bit of a gap opened up between Sybil and Ben Brown, who's back into 5th place after that move on Bennyworth. So, and it looks to me like Kelly's struggling a little bit. He's made a small mistake through Clearways, and the gap between him and Curry has come down significantly.
Yeah, he's going to be under all sorts of pressure soon from John Curry, and he won't need a second invitation. He'll be straight through at the first chance he gets, especially when he's under pressure from Sybil.
Yeah, so these three bunching up, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Curry there, just I think that might be his normal line. I don't know, Sybil had a little bit of a look at the inside of Druids, but not close enough.
I think this will probably hold station for a little while now whilst they try and see where their tyres are at and see how they have to manage the rest of the race, and then they'll think about what moves they have to make later on. Obviously, they'll be hoping that then it won't gap them too much and they'll have a chance for the actual win at the end. Yeah, so lap 4, so we're only a quarter of the way through this race, yeah, drivers will now be thinking, okay, it's settling down. Now we want to just kind of manage the tyres for a bit and make sure that you've got some tyre left for the end. But yeah, Bennett, look, pulling away quite significantly. He's now 3 seconds ahead of Kelly. And he's definitely putting his stamp on this race. And strangely, he's not looking out of sorts. I'm not seeing a lot of tyre smoke going on. It seems very in line without any real sliding going on. So he'll be looking after his tyres quite well.
Yeah, I think he's driving his own race. He's probably exactly where he wants to be, in control. With a nice little cushion and just focusing on ticking the laps off. So this is the battle for second. There's Kelly there. He seems to have regrouped slightly. The gap maybe just opening a tiny bit over John Curry in 3rd, and then Sybil 4th. So just having a look at each other at this stage.
picture in picture. We're currently following Michael Boulding in the chain just behind these three. There's another group of 4 or 5 drivers, so I think it starts with Ben Brown and goes back to Talbot in 9th. I'm sure they'll all be the same as these three here. They'll be trying to take stock of where they are in this race and thinking where they can put the moves on.
Yeah, quite a train developing, yes. Sort of 4 cars all fairly close together. All, again, probably a similar thing. They're all having a look at each other, just seeing if... just trying to look after their tyres, do consistent laps, keep with the group, and plan what they're going to do as we get towards the later stages of the race.
It's probably be a very stressful time for everyone because they know that if they make a mistake, they're going to lose a place definitely.
Absolutely.
But they have to keep pushing to keep up as well.
Yeah, you've got to be... Yeah, any mistake will be punished in this championship. It's so evenly matched. And yeah, they will just be trying to be as consistent as possible, hit their marks, don't make any errors. Sibbald is still looking quite racy, I think, behind John Curry. He looks like if he could get a bit closer, he would definitely be keen to make a move. So Curry there, sort of the meat in the sandwich, really.
He's got the worst position in that group. He's trying to attack and he's trying to defend at the same time. It's never great. You're very stressed because you've got to look for a way to get past and you've got to make sure you don't leave the door open. It's hard to keep that speed up if you're trying to close the door. Yeah,
so, I mean, would you say that when you're having to look in your mirrors and keep an eye on the guy behind you, it can be quite distracting in terms of your overall pace, lap times?
Your pace always suffers if you keep looking at the rear view mirror. I think a lot of times when you're in these races, you tend to get to the point where you're like, well, I don't have to keep looking in my mirror anymore. I'm just going to go for it and see how well I do. And at that moment, you make a mistake and then someone will send it down the inside of you when you're least expecting it. And I'll know that Sibbald will definitely do that if he gets a chance.
Yep, definitely. So, yep, Curry there. Got a lot on his plate at the moment. Kelly again slightly wide out of Graham Hill, just kicking up a bit of dust.
Be careful because 4 wheels over and it will definitely penalise you on this track. So track limits are a major part and it was warned about in the race briefing this morning.
Yeah, and that exit of Graham Hill Bend, particularly a place where you can put all 4 wheels off.
Yeah, it's quite easy to do. You carry a bit too much speed into there, you just drift out a little bit wide.
So yeah, drivers will be aware of that. Don't want to do that and get a penalty. That would be a disaster. Sibbald there, sliding the car a lot through Hawthorne. They are pushing hard, these guys. You can see that they're making little mistakes. They're running off slightly here and there, and they're definitely racing hard.
Yeah, and I can see on that little picture-in-picture Talbot down the inside of Wilson.
Yeah, the 2 Cam Sport cars in the corner of your picture. You can see really battling hard around the back of the circuit.
There's a bit of a old rivalry between those two where they took each other out of Thruxton. Let's hope it doesn't happen again today.
Sibbald's got alongside Curry here as they head down to Curry's, but he's on the outside, so...
Wilson's had enough now. Commentator's curse, I'll take that one later. But we've still got Sibbald around the outside. Oh,
contact!
No.
Oh, and it's contact between Sibbald and Curry's held it. Sibbald is off, but he's actually not lost that much time. But there was a bit of a strange incident there. It just looked like an unintentional contact, I think.
I think Curry actually drifted out wide and Sibbald had nowhere else to go. I think very straightforward to have a look at it and let us know what he thinks of that, and he'll probably explain to us later on what his decision is actually going to be. But it's actually brought them back into the sights of Ben Brown now.
Yeah, it was a slightly strange incident, that. Don't quite know. Here's a replay. So this is a replay of Wilson.
Dear.
Well, yes. So that was Talbot, I think, running to the back of Wilson.
It was indeed, and that's the curse. You see, I mentioned him not having another incident, and that's what happens.
So yeah, that little incident between Curry and Sibbald has dropped them slightly back from Kelly, running in second, and as you said, a bit closer to Ben Brown.
The thing is, if you look at the lap times for the fastest lap, Kelly, Curry and Sibbald have all done almost identical lap times for the fastest lap, so it just shows how their pace is all very similar, where things can go wrong.
Yeah, unbelievably close race lap times.
Less than half a tenth between them on their fastest lap race pace.
Crazy. And I think Curry and Sibbald will be they were kind of fortunate they got away with that incident on the straight last lap, because that could easily have gone badly wrong and they could have both been way down the field.
Could have been really bad for both of them, and I think if it was a case of Curry coming across the front of Sibbald, then he wouldn't have had no comeback for it either.
Yeah, absolutely. So lap 7 just coming up to halfway point of the race. Bennett still leads. His lead is sort of stabilised at about 2.5 seconds from Kelly. He's now got a little bit more of a cushion over Curry and Sibbald running 3rd and 4th. There's Ben Brown. who's running 5th.
Just to jump in, just been told by race control that Talbot was told to give Wilson back the place after that contact earlier, and he has done. I can see that on the timing screens.
Yeah, I don't think Colin Talbot can have too many complaints about that.
Oh, okay. So I think Talbot gave it back himself without any intervening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Colin Talbot will know that he was in the wrong there. It wasn't an intentional thing. I think it was just genuine mistake.
Genuine mistake. We're on board here watching Ben Bennyworth trying to chase down his namesake Ben Brown. So many Bens in this championship.
The battle of the Bens is going on over 5th and 6th position. That's right. And here we are watching again the 3rd and 4th battle between Curry and Sibbald that's been going on the whole race.
They seem to have closed down on Kelly again a bit now.
Yes, it looks like they are closing up to the back of Kelly again. Yeah, they're around a second behind.
Yeah, they're almost 2 seconds earlier.
I don't know whether Kelly's made another little mistake somewhere, because the gap to Bennett has gone up again to over 3 seconds. So it seems like Kelly might have made a little error.
Right, yeah. So this looks like it's going to be Bennett's race to lose at this moment, doesn't it?
He's looking in a very strong position, but we're only halfway through, so there's a lot of racing still to come.
Anything can happen, and we've seen it happen before in this championship too.
Yeah, you can see in the corner of your screen the battle of the Bens. Ben Bennyworth is very close to the back of Ben Brown, so we'll keep an eye on that as well whilst we're watching this front group.
Of course, those two aren't actually that far off of a podium place if they can sort themselves out and try and get onto the back of Sibbald, Curry and Kelly. It's going to be a big ask, though, I think.
Yeah, they're not far behind. You can just see them in the back of the main shot occasionally, having a good battle. So, yeah, really, the race hasn't spread out that much at all. You've only really got 8, you've got the first 7 still covered by 10 seconds.
It's actually a very hard to overtake on this track. You discussed it with me earlier. There's not many overtaking options. Obviously, we've seen a few more from Sibbald earlier in this race that we wouldn't really usually expect. But you have to really give respect to each other to make sure that you get enough room to go around the corners.
Yeah, definitely. It needs to be that understanding between the drivers that if you're being overtaken, that you need to concede the corner at some point. But there's probably a couple of places, I guess. Out of Paddock Hill Bend into Druids is one, and where we saw Sibbald pass, he got the run down Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorne, and that seemed to...
Just to cut across, we've got Wilson alongside Cook in our picture-in-picture. Just come out of Surtees, coming up side by side. Can he actually do it down Pilgrim's Drop and go around?
Yes, this is the move we're just talking about. Into Hawthorne's, he's on the inside.
Ooh.
And yeah, nice clean move.
I think this battle will rage on for the rest of the lap.
Yeah, so Wilson gave him a little bit of space, as he had to do, because Cook had got the corner. And
yes.
Nice move there by Cook, who goes now into 9th position.
It was Wilson on the attack at first, but Cook defended his position, so Wilson got to drive out of Surtees to come up, but Cook defended very, very well.
Yeah, so more great battling going on down the field. And back at the front, still similar positions, really. I would say Curry is getting a little bit closer to Kelly.
Seems like he's inching closer every lap.
I guess now lap 10, you think tyre wear is starting to become a big issue for the drivers?
Yeah, and I've noticed that it's come down by a second, the gap from Bennett to Kelly as well. I actually saw him in the picture for a second there, so maybe Bennett's made a mistake as well. Like we said, anything can happen in this race. Yeah,
the gap back down to 2.5 seconds, a bit less. So Bennett maybe has made a slight error, or something's happened somewhere, but there he is. He's still out in front. He's got that cushion, so at the moment he can afford small errors.
He can afford those little errors if he keeps having them. I'm sure he'll just try and manage the gap now to the end of the race and hope that he doesn't make any major issues. But he can't let off too much because the pace is pretty fast this race.
Yeah, drivers definitely pushing hard. I think the fact there's so many battles throughout the field has kind of meant the race has been quite frantic pace, and it will be interesting to see which drivers have got any tyres left at the end.
Yeah, we're probably getting towards that sort of stage where tyre wear will start making a difference. We've got about 6 laps left after, well, 5 laps after this one, I believe.
Yeah, and we might start to see some drivers maybe struggling a bit more, and other drivers comparatively looking like they're going faster, but it's actually they've just looked after their tyres better.
I haven't been seeing a lot of tyre smoke though. Usually I see quite a lot of screeching of tyres, especially going around this on the start-finish straight when you're just gunning it to try and get the best exit possible, but I haven't seen that this race.
No, so Kelly just 2.3 seconds, 2.4 behind Bennett at the moment, so the gap fairly static. It looks to me like Sibbald maybe struggling to run the pace now. He just seems to have dropped slightly off the back of John Curry.
We'll separate out a little bit each, and great onboard shot here from Bennett's rear wing, just to see if Kelly is closing in on him.
That's what a 2.5 second gap looks like visually in terms of distance. Not much at all. You can see one small mistake and they could be right on you again. So yeah, he's although he's had the lead, he has been under pressure the whole race.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't be looking too much in his rear view, knowing how much of a gap he has got, but it will definitely be something in the back of his mind saying, I can't mess up, I can't do anything wrong, otherwise he'll be right on me.
Yeah. So, yes, I would say Sibbald there, we're looking at just dropping back slightly now. In fact, these three have strung out a little bit altogether, I'd say.
Yeah, they have strung out a little bit. Maybe it is tyre wear, because Sibbald was on the attack quite early on, throwing it down the inside and making moves fit. Here's Ben Brown, who's racing against him, and Bennyworth's dropped off the back of him a little bit as well.
Yeah, so Sibbald was very, very fast at the start of the race, wasn't he? I mean, he made up 2 places quite early on, and yeah, he did look very fast and as if he wanted to make his way through, so possibly he's taken more out of his tyres than the guys around him.
And I have noticed that Michael Balding has actually gained back onto the back of Ben Bennyworth. Maybe he's been looking after his tyres and he's having a resurgence at the end.
Yeah, he's so Balding there. We're watching the purple car is 7th. He's up 3 places already from his grid position, and now he sort of seems to be coming towards the back of Bennyworth. So be interesting to see. Here's Richard Cleaver. He's running in 8th position in the Positive Racing car, and then here we've got Dan Cook, who's running 9th just behind him, and then Chris Wilson.
The whole field's starting to spread out quite a bit now. It's hard to find all the action on track at the moment.
Soughton here is in 11th position.
I can see in the background the lovely pink car of Avram. After the contact he made earlier, he's made a few places back up, and I'm sure he'll chase down Rob, see if he can take him for the end of the race. Yeah, Costas
Avram up to 12th place now from obviously 15th as a result of that contact at the start with Dan Malpass here, who is running 13th. So some drivers having a slightly lonely race down here. It looks here's Pervez.
And Colin Talbot's down in last. I don't know how that happened. He must have had an accident on track, but
yeah, Talbot is down to 15th, so he's lost 6 places. He's obviously had that incident with Chris Wilson, and yeah, not the happiest of race for Colin Talbot in this race 1. But remember, there's race 2 to come later on for him to redeem himself. Here we're back to the leader, Luke Bennett on lap 12, still in the lead. He's just 2 seconds ahead, so he's not pulling away anymore. He seems to be just trying to maintain the gap he's got. So Bennett 2 seconds ahead of Christian Kelly in 2nd, then John Curry is still there 3rd.
Just hearing from cameraman Grant, he thinks possibly he had a drive through Colin Talbot. That's probably why he dropped to the back, but we're not 100% on that, but it could have been that.
So we think that may be track limits?
Maybe track limits. Apparently he was looking quite erratic in the background, probably trying really hard to set up a move. It's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, but he will have a chance later on in race 2 to redeem himself. Just get some practice in on this Brands Hatch GP circuit. Lap 13 now, and that gap between Bennett and Kelly just staying the same, just over 2 seconds.
I think Kelly set his fastest lap on the last lap as well. He's done a 1:37.4 now, which almost matches Luke Bennett's fastest lap of the race. I think he's trying hard now to try and close down in the last stage of his race.
Yes, Kelly, 1:37.4, his fastest lap of the race last time around, and that is a very quick lap indeed. It's only slightly slower than Luke Bennett's fastest lap. So at this stage of the race, it looks like Kelly is the man who's looked after his tyres, as he is the one on the move.
He's actually had a bit of a reputation for doing this in the championship. Every time we call him in, we ask him if he's backing people up into each other, and he just says, no, I'm just looking after my own race. I'm making sure my tyres are good, and then I push at the end. And it looks like he's doing the same thing again at Brands Hatch.
And this is a tactic that has worked well for him throughout the season. That's what's got him into this in his 2nd position in the championship. So, yeah, clearly a tactic that Kelly employs, and he's going to try and do it again here. But he's only got 2 laps to do something about Luke Bennett in front of him, but the gap now less than 2 seconds.
I'm slightly biased, so I kind of want him to get towards him and try and bridge this gap just so we have a fight for the championship, because obviously Kelly needs to gain points on Bennett in the championship, so he probably sees this as a must-win.
Yes, I think it is really. It's now or never really for Kelly in the championship. He has to start beating Luke Bennett in these 2 races. Here we've got a real battle going on between Brown, Bennyworth and Michael Balding there.
It's going to be very close between these guys. They all seem very similar pace. Has he got the cut back on the inside, all contact there?
A little bit of contact between Bennyworth and Brown, just there as Bennyworth tries to get underneath.
Is Balding going to try and make the best of this as well?
So all 3 of them hammering down Pilgrim's Drop towards Hawthorns. Bennyworth pulled out, he's having a look, he's not close enough.
Just trying to upset him a little bit in his mirrors, I think, just making him think, oh, I might have to defend.
Balding there as well, swarming around, just trying to see if anyone's going to leave a gap for him, or maybe he can pick up the pieces of some contact.
Defensive line there from Brown through that corner, staying tight.
Very defensive from Ben Brown, but it's worked, and he's holding Bennyworth off. Balding is still there. Bennyworth is on the grass.
This is very close racing between these 3. I'm sure it's still going to see it. Off again onto the grass for Bennyworth. This could end in tears.
Bennyworth does look fast. He's swarming around. He's desperate. He's on the outside here as they head to clear ways. So Ben Brown has the inside
contact
line.
Again.
Bit more contact. Balding just can't do anything about it. The track is basically blocked for him. He's desperately trying to find a gap. He's gone to the outside. Bennyworth is in front slightly now as they head to Paddock Hill Bend. Side by side.
Contact.
And that's allowed Balding through. Balding's made up 2 places. He's up to 5th position.
Discretion is the better part of valour in this case.
So a bit of contact between Brown and Bennyworth there was exactly what Balding was hoping was going to happen, and they just opened the door for him and he just drove through. So thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks very much, he says, and he's gained 5 positions from his start place. That's a good day's work for Michael Balding, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he's had a very tidy race, and he's made up so many positions. He's the most. He's made up more positions than anyone else in the race. So he'll be very pleased with that, I think.
I think the gap's come back out to over 2 seconds now between Bennett and Kelly. He's obviously trying quite hard, but I don't know how much tyre he's got left himself.
Yeah, the gap now around 2 seconds, so it's moved up and down slightly. Brown is still fending off Bennyworth.
Feels as if Bennyworth has a lot more pace at this late stage. Balding's off onto the grass as well.
Balding really off at the exit of Hawthorn Bend there.
They're all going a little bit off. It's getting a bit erratic at the moment as they fight for positions in these last couple of laps.
Yeah, with just 1 lap to go after this one, they've thrown caution to the wind, I think, and it's just take everything you've got at your tyre now.
Yep, they want those points. They want the honours of saying, I beat you in this race. And Ben Brown's way off onto the grass, way off. That's definitely gifted Bennyworth a good drive out of here.
So Luke Bennett in the corner of your screen starts his last lap in the lead. We're watching Bennyworth and Brown still battling hard. Just 1 lap to go.
Ben Brown has cost himself a place there coming out.
Yeah, so Brown now down to 7th. It was a valiant defence. It went on for some time, but ultimately Bennyworth is through and into 6th. But we'll see, can he do anything about Balding in front of him with just sort of 2/3 of a lap left.
I'm sure Ben Brown hasn't given up either. Now he's not got to defend. He'll probably try a very attacking line to see if he can get back onto Bennyworth as well. It's very frustrating to know you've lost places on the last lap of a race, so I'm sure he'll be fighting to try and get that back.
Yeah, Brown, of course, running 5th for the vast majority of this race. Sliding the car around, you can see going into Surtees.
Yeah, and of course Brown's racing Sibbald in a championship, and this is a drop, a lot of points, because Sibbald is currently in 4th, and Bennyworth is right on the back of Balding now, right up to the back of him, going down Pilgrim's Drop.
Yes, Bennyworth is having a look on the outside. Not going to do it here, he's just trying to move Balding around,
he's
I think.
back in, yep, staying in his slipstream, trying to keep the pace.
Balding's just got to keep it tidy, not make any mistakes, not leave any gaps.
Bennett comes through clearways now. He's just got 1 more corner to go before he comes across the fast start-finish straight.
Yeah. Oh, Bennyworth is sideways, well held. And Brown now right on the back of him. Luke Bennett is crossing the line in the corner of your screen to win the first race of the day.
Bennyworth's off. Same thing Ben Brown did last lap. Can he get down the outside of him and drive past him on the last start-finish straight?
Bennyworth has the inside. Brown is on the outside. He's trying to undercut.
Oh.
Unfortunately, we just cut away. But Bennett and Bennyworth is going to finish in 6th position. Brown will be 7th.
Gave us a little bit of a show right at the end of the race there. That was very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, really hard racing at the end there. Some great battling between those guys. But Luke Bennett has cemented his championship lead. He's got the win that he needed. And he's beaten Christian Kelly by just those couple of seconds at the end. Kelly was second. John Curry came home third. Sibbald finished in fourth place. And Michael Balding, a great drive there to come up through the field and finish fifth. And then we saw Bennyworth and Brown battling there very hard at the end over 6th and 7th position. Richard Cleaver finished in 8th place. Dan Cook was 9th. Chris Wilson, after his bit of argy-bargy with Colin Talbot, ended up 10th. Costas Avram was 11th after his incident at the start. Then we had Rob Soughton 12th, Dan Malpass 13th, Colin Talbot 14th, and Ryan Purves was 15th in the end. So a very exciting first race. We're going to take a short break now, and then we'll be back for the second race of the day and see if Luke Bennett can wrap up this championship. Okay, so I've got with me the race one winner, Luke Bennett. So, Luke, you made an amazingly good start. You got a really good launch, so you were clearly out on your own into the first corner, and then from then on, you looked fairly comfortable. The gap was sort of 2 to 3 seconds most of the race. Tell us about it from your point of view.
So I always got a really good start. I decided I wanted to pull quite a gap to Chris, you know, get him out my toe so he couldn't keep up with me. Then I just thought, once I'd got that 2 second gap, just manage the tyres and keep them going through the whole race, which I managed to do.
Yeah, so you made no mistakes really, just a very tidy race for you?
Yeah, I thought I raced pretty pretty well, pretty consistently. I nearly made a mistake at the end, which nearly sent me off, but I kept it in between the lines.
There was one point just towards the end of the race where Christian Kelly it looked like he set his fastest lap, his personal best, on like lap 13 or 14, and we thought, oh, maybe he's looked after his tyres a lot, and he was being really quick, and the gap was coming down to you a little bit. So were you feeling a bit under pressure at that point?
Yeah, I saw the gap coming down from about 2.5 seconds to about 1.7. I thought as long as that doesn't come under 1 second, then I'm not going to decide to push hard, so I don't mess my tyres up.
So we've just this one race to go now, and you've got a good championship lead, so you really just need to pick up some half-decent points in this race, and that will make you the champion. So are you feeling confident about that?
Yeah, I'm quite confident.
Okay, great. Well, best of luck for the second race.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you afterwards, hopefully.
Thank you.
So we're going to bring in, I think, our second-place driver, Christian Kelly's going to come and have a chat with us. Yeah, here he is.
Is it on this time?
It is. So, Christian, Luke got an amazing start.
Yep.
He absolutely went off like a
Something
like
clean,
a scolded,
please.
yes, like a scolded cat. And then he sort of seemed to be able to maintain a gap of a sort of 2 to 3 seconds for most of the race. But you looked quite fast towards the end. So were you looking after your tyres consciously a lot during the race?
We both were. I think his strategy was to go out hard, get a gap, and hold the gap, and it worked. It doesn't really matter what I did from there, to be honest. It's, I was closing, I saw it 1.7, 1.8, and I thought, okay, right, we can do something here. And he was just excellent and just maintained it. So, yeah, I gave it everything I could. Obviously, last race, not that I haven't been for the rest of it, just couldn't quite get him. So maybe next time a little bit more aggressive at the start.
Yeah.
As you say, maybe I had a little bit more left in my tyres. If I extract that at the start of the race with good grip, maybe that's the way forward.
Yeah, we saw that you did your personal fastest lap of the race, I think on like 13, 14, quite late in the race.
Yep.
So we were kind of speculating in commentary that maybe you'd saved a bit more tyres than the guys around you, but it looked like, in the end, just not quite enough.
Well, and I think if you go hard on the throttle when you've got a lot of grip, the impact is maybe 2%, whereas if you do that when it's down to 14%, you lose 6%. So I just need to maybe start using my tyres differently in the next race.
So your tactic for this second race is more aggressive at the start and see if you can at least get in front of Luke Bennett at some point.
My last tactic didn't work, so yes.
Change it.
Got to try something else, haven't we?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So hopefully we'll speak to you after the race too, and I wish you best luck for that.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. So I think we're going to try and get a quick word with John Curry, who finished third in that first race of the day. Come on in, John. So yeah, quite an intense battle for the first few laps between Kelly, yourself, and Sibbald, who was putting you under a lot of pressure, and you were kind of the meat and the sandwich. You were having to look behind, unlook it, and try and attack at the same time. So difficult race for you there?
Yeah, it was, because the last few races, really, it's always settled down to me chasing Christian, and I know that he takes it fairly steady for the first half of the race, and I'm happy to follow him at that point, because you can't win the race at that point. And I knew I had Ben behind me, I think, for the first couple of laps, and I knew as soon as I saw him fighting with Sibbald that it was going to be that Sibbald would probably be coming for me, because I knew that he'd be probably running at a much harder pace to start with. So once he cleared Ben, I knew I was going to be under pressure from behind, whilst not really having enough pace to be able to properly get past Christian.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, Sibbald caught me up, and he had a run on me at one point, and at one point I thought I was gone on the pit straight, and it was a bit of a hairy moment.
Yes, it was a slightly odd incident. It was a strange place to make contact, and you were kind of both got away with it, luckily. But do you know what do you think happened from your point of view?
Well, I knew he got a run on me coming down into Clearway, so what I was going to try to do was sort of park it on the apex and try to ensure he couldn't undercut me down the straight. So I managed to do that, and I saw he was trying the outside, and I don't know what he was really trying to do there, because you can't really go around the outside of paddock. He didn't really have that much of a run, and all of a sudden I felt a small bit of contact, and in these Clios, you only need the slightest touch and you're gone.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
I just had to put hard down to recover it, and unfortunately that sort of played a bit of havoc on my tail life. So it meant that I had to sort of, I didn't really have, although I was able to catch back up to Christian, by that point, when I was trying to sort of break the gap to Sibbald, I thought that by that point I just advanced it as. So
Yeah.
it was. I was pleased to get third out of it. I don't really think I had enough for the front two in race trim. Luke sort of controlled it all from the start really, and I was hoping that from a championship perspective that Luke and Christian would start going at it a bit.
Sure.
But,
I mean, it looks like realistically the championship is now going to be between Christian and Luke. So have you got any tactics for the second race? Are you going to get involved in it at all? Or?
I think I'll say I'm on pole for the last race, so it'd be nice to end the year on a high. But I mean, going into this week, I knew that it was really between Luke and Christian, and I knew it was sort of dependent on. I needed things to happen to have any chance.
So I think because you're going to be starting from pole, it's going to be inevitable that you are going to be involved at some point.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be really exciting for us, and we're looking forward to it. So best of luck.
Cool. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Tom. Right, so we're going to just take a short break now as we drivers get ready for race 2 of the day. So welcome back. The drivers are lined up on the grid for the second Clio race. As we were just saying earlier, we've got an interesting grid here because John Curry is actually on pole position, and Luke Bennett, champion leader, is going to start second, and Christian Kelly will be third. So it's different to the first. Luke Bennett just launched and got away and just ran away with it really. Now we've got Curry in the mix starting from pole.
I'm going to be the negative Nelly and say, actually, if you looked at the start that Luke had last race,
he might get in the lead before Paddock Hill Bend anyway if he makes another start like that.
I was just talking to so many other drivers, and apparently Michael Boulding had a very similar start because he was back in 10th and launched it down the inside of about 3 people. So people are looking out for him at the start as well.
Yeah, he made 3 places up very quickly and then had a very good race from then on as well. So some drivers have got the secret of launching these Clios off the line, it seems.
Yeah, Luke did divulge a secret to me last round about how to get off the line really well, but I obviously wasn't allowed to say anything, sworn to secrecy.
Top secret on how to launch your Clio.
I couldn't do it anyway. Basically, he told me about putting his foot on the brake at the same time as accelerating, and it kind of settles the car, but I still couldn't do it.
Yes, there's people can tell you the theory, but actually executing it is a different story.
Yeah, I know that Lewis Hamilton's pretty fast, but I still can't drive an F1 car like him.
Yeah, we all know. In theory, we should all be able to do it, but why can't we? It's odd. Anyway, so John Curry then, he'll definitely be looking to go out in the season on a high. He's kept pace with these front motors. Result of the race 1, he is now out of that championship battle. So he'll just be seeing if he can get a final race win of the year. And the battle behind him between Kelly and Bennett is going to be raging. Kelly really needs to win this race. Bennett just needs to have a decent result, get some points to secure the championship. He just wants to stay out of trouble, I would think. But knowing Bennett, he will probably be going flat out from the start and looking to just try and win this race in the front.
I'm sure he'll be the perfectionist. He'll want to win the championship and win it with a race win. It's not always possible, of course, but I'm sure with his mindset, a win is always on his mind.
Yeah, so a lot will be riding on the start, so yeah, we're really looking forward to this one as they come down to take their grid positions.
So just a last word, we've got Ben Brown and Ben Bennyworth next to each other on the grid this time, and after the end of the last race,
yes,
maybe a good start to this one as well.
Battle will be rejoined between those two after a tremendous race-long battle that Bennyworth won eventually in race 1, so yeah, watch out for those two. Bennyworth there in the red and Ben Brown in the green and blue Anxiety UK car. So here we are then, they're all lined up. Curry on the left, Bennett on the right.
And we've also got on board with Michael Balding, see if he gets his rapid start off the line.
Yes, yeah, on your corner of your screen there, that is Balding's view. He can see the two Cam Sport cars in front of him. And we're waiting for the lights. And they're away, and another tremendous start by Luke Bennett.
And a rapid start from Michael Balding. He's already up into 4th.
Balding's there's somebody off in the background. That's Pervez possibly. But Bennett, an unbelievable start again. He's straight into the lead. Balding is now 3rd.
A start.
Kelly is 2nd. Curry's down to 4th. And then I think we've got Sibbald and Bennyworth. So very much the same as race 1. We've got Bennett out in front with Kelly behind him. Balding has made a tremendous start.
Oh, that's a little bit of too much use of the inside of a track there from John Curry. I'm sure he won't be doing that too often.
So Curry will be disappointed to be down to 4th already. You won't have expected that. And he's attacking Balding on this opening lap. There's Ben Brown just in front of Bennyworth at the moment. He's got Chris Wilson behind him and then Colin Talbot. And then just a little bit of a gap back to Avram in 10th. But they're all swarming around as they head down Pilgrim's Rock for the first time.
Oh, Curry looks desperate to get past here. He really wants to be past Michael Balding.
Yeah, Curry's trying everything desperately to make a move. He's taking a hell of a lot of apex.
Just about keeping one of those tyres on the actual black stuff to make sure he doesn't get a track limits penalty, I'm sure. But he's got the pace, he just can't get through.
Yeah, so there's a gap opening up between Kelly and Balding already, and I think Curry knows it, and he's thinking, I need to get this move done very, very quickly if I'm going to stay in contact with the leaders.
And in the background you can still see that you've got Ben Bennyworth on the back of Ben Brown too. Two similar races going on here. Whoa, John Curry, very frustrated to go from 1st to 4th, I'm sure. I mean, we've all had it happen in the past, bogging down at the start and just dropping back. As he looks for a way around the outside at Paddock Hill, that might not work. He's gone.
He's off. He's in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. He was just very wide, took a lot of speed in. He's lost a couple of places. He's come back on just in front of Ben Brown. Contact between him and Ben Brown. Bennyworth is there as well in the red car trying to get inside.
That is a strong case for why you don't push too hard at the start of the race. I mean, he pushed really hard and he's just lost too much thanks to that. And he's going to have to work past even more cars to try and get back in for a podium position.
Yeah, so Curry now down to 6th position. He's dropped into that furious battle between Ben Brown and Ben Bennyworth. He's right in the middle of that now. Here's a replay of what happened at the start. Look at Balding just weaving through the... Well, a bit of contact, Malpass, I think.
Pervez, that is, as well.
Yeah. But did you see Balding's start? He was literally swerving through the cars in front of him because he was so much faster.
He got an even better start on Luke Bennett, and I'm glad we had the onboard shot. It's a great bit of camera work there from Grant, and a good choice for you to pick there, because he literally launched like a rocket off that line.
So it seems like the drivers who are able to use this start technique, it's a tremendous advantage if you get it right.
And it looks like this race, Kelly's not leaving anything to chance. He's sticking right in the back bumper of Luke Bennett to ensure that he can have a little bit of a go at the end of the race.
Yeah, as we spoke to Christian Kelly after race 1, and he did say he would change his tactic in race 2 and he would go out harder at the start to try and at least stay with or try and affect Luke Bennett's race in some way. And he's got to do that, because if he's going to win this championship, he needs to beat him, and beat him significantly, really.
And Curry's had one wheel on the grass there again as he's trying to make another room past Ben Brown. Obviously, Ben is actually quite difficult to get past. He loses it a little bit on the front, and has that allowed John Curry up the inside?
Oh, Ben Brown chops across the front as they head up to Druids, and he's defended from John Curry for now. He remains in 5th place.
It's becoming a very compact group of cars there. They're going to crush out. Has he gone down the inside? Oh! I'm not sure that was really on, but he's made it oh, he's gone round.
And Curry has spun across the front of Ben Brown, and now they're 3 wide with Chris Wilson here, Bennett on the red car on the inside. Wilson's through.
Is he going to hold it around the outside? Oh, he's on the grass.
Wilson has got through. He's now into 5th position. There's Colin Talbot as well, all over the back of Ben Brown. So Curry was the big loser there. We'll have to see a replay of what exactly happened, I think, but he just seemed to get spun across the front of Ben Brown.
And Talbot's lunging down the inside of Ben Brown. Backs out of it last second. I do feel sorry for John Curry there. I mean, he was trying hard to make back up for the mistakes earlier on in the race, and it just hasn't worked out for him.
His race was really going wrong since right from the start, and it seemed the harder he fought, the worse it got.
Well, the angrier you get when you're in a race car, you tend to get a bit of red mist and start making mistakes, and I'm sure that's just what's happened to John now, and maybe he'll calm down for the rest of the race and realise that it was a bit of the wrong tactic. Kelly then pushing very hard indeed, and Bennett as well. There's a lot of smoke coming off the tyres, as you were saying on that corner, Sean. You were expecting to see that. Yeah, I was expecting to see it. I didn't see it in the first race, but it seems that Bennett's realised that I've got a bit of a hanger on here and I don't really want him there, so I'm going to push a little bit harder this race to try and get away from him. Of course, Bennett could afford just to drop behind Kelly and follow him round, and he'd still win the championship. Everyone wants to win with a win. Everyone wants to win with a win. I do think Luke Bennett's attitude is he wants to win the race. He's a very hard, fast racer. You can see on our timing screens that Bennyworth has got back past Chris Wilson. It seems a bit of a battle going on. Oh, here's a replay. This is John Curry then coming out of Graham Hill Bend, and the contact with Ben Brown. And actually, Bennyworth as well ran slightly to the back of Ben Brown. I'm not sure Ben Brown had much choice other than to stay where he was. He couldn't go off any further. He would have got a track limits penalty. And then there was also Ben Bennyworth on the other side of him, so he couldn't move either way. So, yeah, I think he was a bit trapped. So, obviously, the race directors all have a look at that, and if there is any follow-up action required, they'll let us know. But it's really damaged Curry's race anyway. He's down to 11th here. Kelly is swarming around all over the back of Luke Bennett. Dive down the inside of Brown, contact. And he's pushed Ben Brown onto the grass. Brown has kept his foot in, and he's just about survives. Aram's looking for the pieces from this one, trying to get past Ben Brown as well. Ben Brown is severely getting bullied in this round. The midfield battle has got very aggressive in this race, it seems, as people really try and fight for track position. At the front, still, Kelly pushing very hard. You can see him sliding the car coming out of clearways there. And these front two are the only two in the 37s at this race so far. Yeah, they've absolutely cleared off, really. Boulding's still third, but he's 4.5 seconds behind this battle for the lead. As Kelly sets the fastest lap, and he's right on the bumper of Bennett now. He's going to try and have a look into Druids, I think. Bennett's gone defensive. So Kelly takes a tighter line, exiting Druids, down to Graham Hill Bend. No real way through here. Maybe out of Surtees. Maybe out of Surtees, get the drive out of here, take a wide line, but Bennett's leaving him the room to go down the inside if he wants. He wants to keep that pace. Very important to get a good exit here. Looks like Bennett has got a good exit. Of course, they can afford to do this. They've already got they've got a 4-second gap back to Michael Boulding in third. Yeah, real big gap. So Boulding, though, still holding at that third position after his incredible start. We saw in the last race as well that he held that pace all race and then got faster at the end when he knew he had tyres left at the end of the race. He paced himself really well. You can see actually in the corner of your screen that is Boulding with Sybil very close behind him. So the battle over third and fourth is quite tight. Of course, third place is that last step on the podium that everyone wants. So I'm sure Sybil will want it because he couldn't get it last race. He'll be trying again. He did cook his tyres last race though, and he dropped back quite a lot from John Curry at the end. Yes, so lap 5, all the drivers will have that at the back of their mind. You've got to get to the end of this 16-lap race and maintain good pace all the way through, if possible. Bennett, though, still staying out in front, fending off Christian Kelly's attacks for now. Sibbald very close to the back of Boulding. Boulding going a little bit defensive into Paddock Hill Bend. This car's looking a little bit slidey going into turn 1. Yeah, all the cars sliding around a bit more than they seem to be in race 1. Yeah, I don't know if it's anything to do with it, but the Mine Car race director from earlier was telling us that the wind was changing direction constantly throughout the races, and maybe it's just having a slight effect on the car or the way it holds on the physics. Yeah, maybe pushing the car a bit into certain corners. But Bennett now, again,
getting this good exit out of Surtees.
It's this big long chain again. You've got Ben Bennyworth, Chris Wilson and Colin Talbot in the corner of your picture as well.
Yeah, Colin Talbot there in the red flashes, the Cam Sport car, just behind his teammate Chris Wilson with the blue flashes on his car, and they're both behind Ben Bennyworth.
We've also got another picture of Golding and Sibbald.
Yeah, Sibbald looking very, very fast at the moment. The gap between Boulding and Kelly is now up to nearly 6 seconds. So these front two are definitely just setting an electric pace. But try as he might, Christian Kelly has not been able to make the move. And now the gap just starting to open very slightly. It's around a second, a bit more than a second. So Luke Bennett is just turning the pace up again.
We'll see if this is a fastest lap from Bennett or whether it's just been a slower lap from Kelly. Oh, there we go. Fastest lap, Luke Bennett, 1:37.327.
Yeah, you could see that felt like it was coming. It felt like Luke Bennett was...
I think Sybil's gone for the cut back here.
Sybil's going up the inside. He's having a look as they come up to Druids. He's got the inside line. He's braked well. Boulding has given him the space. Boulding's trying the cut back, but he'll be on the outside of Graham Hill Bend. He's having a look. No, he can't do it. Sibbald has made a clean move there.
Oh, and Boulding's gone right off at the end of the Graham Hill Bend on the exit.
Very wide, yeah. Just trying so hard to try and get that place back.
You can also see Sibbald did a 1:37.6 that last lap, which probably explains how he got so close to them in the first place. And Colin Talbot, 1:37.6 himself in 6th.
Yeah, Colin Talbot having a much better race so far in race 2 than he did race 1.
Yeah,
running 6th place.
He's got cleanly past Chris Wilson now. I can see in the corner of your picture. So I'm sure he's on the charge now to try and chase down Ben Bennyworth.
So here is that battle. Colin Talbot just in front of his teammate Chris Wilson.
Had to have a word with him earlier. I mean, can't keep contacting each other on stream like we did in the first race. So please, lads, keep it together for this one.
Yeah, I think it was just a mistake in the first race by Colin Talbot. But yeah, not a good look,
No.
wiping your teammate out. Ben Brown there looked very close behind the two Cam Sport cars.
And we just saw John Curry in the corner of our screen going past Cook, trying to recover from all the earlier incidents. Now that Talbot's got past, he seems to be dragging them all around because Wilson's done a 1:37 now himself.
Yeah, so they're all pushing the pace quite hard. We're on lap 8, so halfway through, and yeah, they're all pushing quite hard for this stage of the race. But it's such a close fight in this midfield. Just in the background there, Costas Avram.
Just a lunge, and Wilson's got down the inside of Talbot.
Yeah, a tidy move by Chris Wilson, and Talbot is having to defend from Ben Brown now. But yeah, nice move from Chris Wilson there to get through into that 6th position. No contact between teammates. That's how it should be done.
It's nice to see, as long as they're still closing on Ben Bennyworth and not costing themselves too much time. And Ben Brown's gone wide there. Lost a lot of time moving up Surtees there.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake from Ben Brown. So the two Cam Sport cars still absolutely together.
And I can see that Bennett has now got over a 3-second lead of Kelly.
Yeah, I think Kelly might have made a mistake somewhere. That lead is shot up.
Contact again between the Cam Sport cars of Wilson and Talbot.
Talbot just pushing Wilson through that bend there. Ben Brown's got it the inside of Talbot now. And Ben Brown is through into 7th position. So yeah, that cost Talbot a bit. That contact with back of Wilson has cost him a position. And there also Avram is not far away now.
Yeah, it's not good from the Council boys. They need to try and calm themselves down a little bit more and help each other in this race because Ben Bennyworth is getting a let off here.
Well, yeah, it seems in this midfield, in this Clio race, it's every man for himself.
Definitely every man for himself. But it'd be nice to have a clean race and all to get to the end without any major incidents in this race now.
So yeah, Chris Wilson has made his way to the front of this group. He's in 6th position. Just a little bit of a gap to Ben Bennyworth in 5th at the road. And then Boulding running in 4th position. And yeah, the gap at the front has gone up a lot. I think it's now almost 4 seconds. Bennett is just easing away from Christian Kelly now, and looks like he's working his way towards this championship.
Yeah, he already had it one hand on the championship, and it looks like he's got 2 firm hands on this championship. He's going to bring it to the end. I think all tyre smoke there from Colin Talbot, cooking those tyres. I'm sure they won't thank him very much for that at the end of this race.
Yeah, Talbot pushing really hard at this stage. Probably a bit frustrated that he's lost those couple of spots. He was looking good, but now he's down to 8th. Just trying to stay with this battle. He's got Avram not far behind him in the purple. Is that pink or is it purple? Anyway, that
like
coloured car.
It's very pinky purple. Let's call it pinky purple.
I'll call it fuchsia.
Fuchsia, that's a very good colour. I like that.
So Avram there, he's in 9th, pushing hard. He's got a bit of a gap. John Curry recovering. He's in 10th position at the moment. Down 9 places from his starting position. So it's been a race to forget for John Curry so far.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he was up on pole position. There's only a second now between Kelly and Sibbald, really. It's quite close between those two.
Yeah, Sibbald, so closing that gap down. Sibbald running 3rd. He'll definitely be looking to try and end with a podium position for this last race of the championship.
Now it seems that Colin Talbot's dropped off the back of these two, and Ben Brown is pushing on to try and overtake Chris Wilson.
Yeah, Ben Brown, who's definitely been in the war so far today. He's been at the centre of all the action, really.
Seems to have been battered and bruised and hit on every side of the car. And are they catching Ben Bennyworth? It seems he's a bit more clear in the picture now when they're cutting through each camera shot.
Yes, it looks like the gap to Bennyworth might be coming down slightly.
So we could have another fight. And then there's Michael Boulding only just in front of Ben Bennyworth now. I just saw him in the picture as well. So.
And Wilson's gone very wide. He's opened the door. Ben Brown is trying to get alongside.
Wilson will have the inside line surely for the next corner.
He's actually just got in front. Ben Brown drops in to try and get the slipstream.
Shows him the outside of a track just to show him who's boss on this one. Ben Brown cleverly sits in behind and follows him through that corner.
Yeah, there's no way through there. So evenly matched, these drivers.
So Talbot off on the gravel there, and I think that's let Avram come through. Oh no, maybe not.
Not quite, but Avram is very, very close now to the back of Talbot. In the back of the shot. Oh. Talbot wide, coming out of Dingle Dell sideways.
Yeah, and they're side by side coming through. Oh!
He's just about held him off. Talbot's got 3. I think he had the inside line for Sterling's.
Look how much time they've lost. That's John Curry all over the back of both of them now.
And then Dan Cook as well in 11th place, just in the orange Positively Racing car, just on the back of this group. So yeah, Curry now having a look. Avram's having to go defensive as they head down the start-finish lap, straight to start lap 11.
I think they're costing each other too much time here, and John Curry's probably thinking I can gain a few more places back. Colin slams the door shut.
Very defensive by Talbot as they head up to Druids. So they're all bunching up, really. Something's going to kick off here, I feel. Curry must be thinking, I need to get through this group, try and salvage something from this race.
Of course, so Colin's usually known as a very good defensive driver. He's been quite aggressive, but now he seems to be doing his old defensive work again here.
Yeah, he's really collected a bit of a group here, and look at that is Cook, I think, is having a look at Curry.
It doesn't matter where you start in this race, everyone's fair game, and I can see Ben Brown and Chris Wilson right on the back of each other in the front of our picture as well.
They're absolutely together, Brown and Wilson. Here they are. Ben Brown is basically attached to the back of Chris Wilson's bumper.
He is in his boot and ready to take home from the shopping.
Brilliant racing, though, all the way through the field in this championship. It just produced some really close racing all the way through.
Picture, just that's Sibbald in one of the Positively Racing cars. He's really closed down to the back of Kelly now, going for that 2nd place in this race.
Yep, Sibbald. So lap 12 now, the tyres will definitely, some drivers will be struggling. A lot of drivers pushing very hard at the start of this race, and some of them will be feeling that, feeling the tyres going away from them now, and they've still got 4 laps to go. So Wilson, slightly defensive line going into Paddock Hill Bend. Ben Brown still very much there.
I can see on our timing screens that Talbot drops to the back of the group behind as well. As Ben Brown goes side by side. Druids.
Brown's trying the outside, and he's trying the cut back, but I don't think that's going to work for him. Wilson has got the line. He's staying in front as they head through Graham Hill Bend.
As you see Avram coming down towards Graham Hill Bend with John Curry and Dan Cook, and then Talbot as well.
Yeah, so Avram has got to the front of that group.
Ben Brown sends it down the inside. Sorry to cut through there.
Yeah, Brown is up the inside, and Wilson is on the grass coming out of Surtees.
Ben Brown seemed to have the track position, but Wilson had the exit from the corner, so he just drove past him again.
Yeah, surprising. Wilson didn't seem to cost him that much being on the grass there.
No, you would have thought that having a couple of wheels on there would have maybe made him lift off a little bit more.
Yeah, you'd have thought it would compromise his exit, but it seems he still had enough momentum to stay in front. And on the grass there is Avram.
Hasn't cost him too much either, surprisingly. He stayed in. Oh, he's off again.
A lot of grass tracking going on. He's all over the outside of these corners, and Curry is now through. So he's up.
Oh, contact! He's turned him.
And he spat Avram across the grass, but he saved it. He kept out of the barriers. Impressive.
As Ben Brown comes alongside Chris Wilson again, is he going to make a dive down the last corner?
He's got the inside. And he's made the move.
It's a great block pass, that is.
He's blocked out Chris Wilson and Ben Brown then into 6th place for now, but Wilson is swarming around as they head to Paddock Hill Bend on lap 13.
Sibbald as well, making the move on Kelly around the outside. Can't get through there, surely.
No, a bit ambitious. I don't think he can maintain an overlap, and he hasn't. So Kelly for now stays in second. Maybe Kelly, that aggressive start is taking its toll on his tyres now as we get towards the end of this race.
Ben Brown has made it stick now. Wilson is definitely in front of him, and maybe he's going to try and gap him now to try and see if he can catch up with Ben Bennyworth as Chris Wilson goes wide. Very
wide for Chris Wilson there. All four wheels off again. He's pushing so hard to try and keep up with Ben Brown, who's made his way through finally up into that 6th position.
Sibbald alongside again, Kelly.
Sibbald's trying the outside of Kelly as they go round, I think that's Hawthorne. He's still there on the outside. Kelly's giving him some space. Up to Westfield Bend now. He's trying, he's still there. He's gone as the grass slightly. They're still side by side. They're heading to Dingledale. It's difficult to get two cars through here.
Oh no. Oh, that was as close as you can possibly get racing these cars.
Just about gave each other enough space, and brilliant racing. Sibbald is through. He's into 2nd place.
Now we've got Bennyworth chasing down Bolton. He's right on the back of him now as well. I feel sorry for Grant. He's having to chop and change these cameras to bring us the best of the action, but it's such an exciting race.
Racing going up and down the field all the way through, and that was a great move by Sibbald though, to just hang on the outside all the way through that section.
Great move, but also great driving from both of them to make sure that they didn't end in tears and no one ended up on the outside of a track.
Yeah, how they both got through Dingledale, I don't know, because that is a tricky place to go through side by side, and they just about made it through without any contact. And yeah, great racing, great respect between a lot of these drivers. Having racing each other all year, I think they're starting to learn each other's tactics.
Yeah, learn each other's tells, and that wasn't even in for first place. For any of you who've just joined us halfway through, Luke Bennett has got the benefit of about 6 or 7 seconds in front now, and Sibbald just got through into 2nd place to see if he can hold it from Kelly.
Here's Michael Balding with Ben Bennyworth very close behind. Bennyworth in the plain red car there behind Balding. So Balding, who had a fantastic start and was running 3rd for a long time, dropped to 4th, and now he's fending off Bennyworth, trying to hang on to that 4th place.
Yeah, takes the inside line here, coming to the corner, making sure he gets the best line through the corner. Then Bennyworth in red here. This is not sure if this is his 3rd race in this championship or not this time round, but he's been here for quite a few rounds. He's quite a fast driver. I've had to race against him myself in a NASCAR race, and he's hard to hold off, let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the drivers who's been running in the top half of the field, certainly all day today. He's had some good races, and now he's trying to get this 4th place with just a couple of laps to go. So he's having a little look as they come down to clearways. Balding, though, not going too defensive, just driving his own line at the moment.
I think with only 2 laps to go when they cross the line this time round, it's going to be a case of he needs to get past sooner rather than later, because otherwise Ben Brown will be on the back of them. I know it's quite a big gap, but it doesn't take a long time to catch up when they're holding each other up.
Yeah, I suppose if you've really done your tyres and you're struggling at this point, you can lose a lot of time quite quickly.
I wouldn't expect it from Michael Balding, because in the 2nd race, first race, he seemed to come back quite hard at the end of the race.
Yeah, so only they know what their tyres are looking like now. Bennyworth just having a look, I think just moving around in the mirrors of Michael Balding, just trying to distract him, and it might have worked.
It seems to have worked, yeah. It's quite a good tactic, just to showing him is there, just show him a wheel, as they say in bike racing, but here just showing the nose of your car.
Yeah, and It definitely, Balding made a small mistake, but he's got away with it, and he still maintains that 4th position. Bennyworth's got a good exit, it looks to me, as they head down Pilgrim's Drop. Very close. He's having another little look, just moving around. Balding's just
showing himself in the mirrors again.
Balding's gone a bit wide. Bennyworth looks very fast through this section of the circuit.
And Balding's off on the last again.
Balding making a few mistakes. I think he's feeling the pressure.
I'm sure it won't be long before he shoves it down the inside, maybe at the last corner. He gets a good exit from here. Bennyworth can probably get alongside him.
And it just shows it's quite tricky around that section to pass because there's no real big braking zones. It's all quite momentum and flowing. Well, we saw Sibbald make a tremendous move, but it took him about half a lap.
It took him half a lap, and he had to make sure he was there the entire time. If he wasn't alongside him, there was no way he was going to make the move stick.
So in the corner of your screen, you can see Luke Bennett has started his final lap. He is going to win this championship, all being well. He's just got 3/4 of a lap to go. Commentator's curse here, possibly.
Yeah, I don't want to say commentator's curse because Luke's usually pretty sound when he's out on his own, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be wrapped up nicely.
He's nearly 9 seconds ahead now. So all he has to do is just complete the lap, and he will be the champion.
It's a great first season for him in the SRBC. I mean, this Clio Championship was always very close, and he's joined this season and made himself look like the person to beat.
It's the first real championship he's entered, and he's really been the class of the field since the moment he arrived. And certainly towards the end of the season, he's just been in dominant form, really.
Dominant form. And Kelly was the only one who could take it to him, and his challenge pulled off.
Balding and Bennyworth are side by side round the back of the circuit. What a move that is by Ben Bennyworth to take 4th position. Unbelievable.
On the last lap of the race, that would be frustrating for Michael Balding, I'm sure.
Tremendous driving by Bennyworth, though. It looks like he's going to get that 4th position. Here is Luke Bennett, though. He's going to win the championship.
And he's going to win this race.
2 race wins today, and Bennett crosses the line. He wins the Clio Cup Championship here at Simply Race. Fantastic performance. Sibbald, a great overtake to finish 2nd, ahead of Christian Kelly, who will finish 3rd. And then Bennyworth for another tremendous overtake. He will finish 4th. And Balding is swerving.
Just holding off Ben Brown.
Michael Balding is 5th. He just holds off Ben Brown for 6th position. Chris Wilson there finishes 7th. John Curry ends up 8th after a very difficult race for him, starting from pole. Dan Cook is finishing 9th place. There he is. And Costas Avram there is 10th. Colin Talbot finishes 11th. Richard Cleaver 12th. Ryan Pervez comes 13th in the end. Dan Malpas 14th. And then Rob Soughton finishes in 15th place for our final race of the season. So, a very exciting end to the season there, and a deserved championship win for Luke Bennett.
Yeah, definitely deserved championship for Luke Bennett. That was a complete change from what happened in the first race. It was very exciting, all the way through lots of battles. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, tremendous fighting and racing up and down the field. Some brilliant overtakes on a circuit is quite difficult to overtake on. So, hopefully we'll get a quick word with the top 3 from that race and see what they made of it. Okay, so here we are. Luke, you've done it. You've won the championship. You've won the second race of the day. You must be really pleased with that.
Yeah, very pleased. Again, a similar race to the first race. Great start again. Chris stayed with me for the first 5 or 6 laps. But then I pushed on. I managed to get the fastest lap. Once I broke the tyre, I was able to get quite a gap.
So Christian Kelly did tell us he was going to change his tactic for race 2, and he was going to go out hard at the start, just to try and affect your race in some way. But again, you made an unbelievable start, and you got into the first corner first. You came under a bit of pressure from Kelly in the early laps, but it seemed like you were just able to fend him off, and then ultimately I think he faded later on.
Yeah, I was just still looking after my tyres, making sure I could last them to the end of the race once again.
Of course, you could have dropped behind Kelly and just finished second, and you'd still have won the championship. Did that cross your mind, or were you just focused totally on winning the race?
No, it's got to be the win. Got to do it in style.
Yeah, absolutely, and you certainly have done. You've won both races today. You've been a dominant force towards the end of this championship. And what are your plans maybe for next season? Are you going to stay in the Clios? Are you going to maybe move into the touring car?
Well, I'm doing DTMs over the winter, and then I'm hoping to do touring cars next year.
Okay, brilliant. So, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the podium shortly.
Thank you.
So we'll bring in Ed Sibbald. Will come and have a chat with us. So Ed, brilliant race there. Fantastic overtake on Kelly towards the end. Took you about half a lap, but you got it done.
I know, yeah.
This is brilliant. Very exciting for us. You must be pleased to end the year with a good result like that.
I am. I feel I've had a bit of bad luck, and most of it's been my own fault, to be honest, for some of the races. I've sort of had one good race and one bad race.
Yeah.
So to get 2 clean races under me belt is fine by me. But yeah, to do that move on Kelly was quite.
Yeah, so you were on the outside, I think, around some of those really fast bends, Hawthorns, Westfield, and then you almost went side by side through Dingle Dell, which we shut our eyes in the commentary box and we thought
so
this is going to go wrong.
Yeah, well, I knew that I seemed to be getting good traction out of the left at the beginning of the fast corners, so I thought, well, I figured I'd just have better tyres than him, to be honest. I've been conserving a bit, so I was catching him up, and I thought it's not often you catch Kelly up, so I thought, well, it can only mean one thing. So yeah, so I thought, well, if I got the tyres, I might as well jerk around there, see what happens. I didn't have much to lose. If we'd have gone off, there was a bit of time, but it's all part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So a good result, good run for you. You've certainly had a good championship overall. I think you finished. I think you're in the top 5.
I have no idea.
But you've been one of the drivers who've been running quite near the front for most of the championship. So you're looking forward to coming back next season?
Absolutely, yeah. Can't wait.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the podium.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Cheers. And we'll grab a quick word with Christian Kelly now. So, Christian, you gave it everything you'd got. I think we could see you trying very hard at the start. Unfortunately, Luke got that amazing launch again, but you were really pushing him hard in the early stages.
That was the funnest race of the season for me. Obviously, dropping back behind Ed wasn't so good.
Yep.
But yeah, it was really good fun. I was just absolutely I was trying to pressure him as much as I could. Fair play to him. He kept it level-headed, kept his tyres in. I've realised he just kicks the back out before corners, which means he can get a better line through. So I'll be practicing that for next time if we've got front-wheel drive cars going again.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it seems that Luke's definitely been a dominant force towards the end, but you've been the only guy who really has given him any challenge. So you're not far off. So I guess your plan is to come back next season and see if you can knock him off his perch.
Well, let's see what we're doing next season. Let's see if we're doing Clios again. I got DTMs over the winter, and then the Tatus, the other ones as well. So try something different, bit of downforce, bit of aero, changes the way you drive completely.
And I know that Luke Bennett is doing that championship as well, the DTM.
DTMs, so it'll be good fun just to rekindle that little rivalry.
Battle rejoined. Yeah, we'll look forward to that. But congratulations on your runner-up position in the championship.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks.
Okay, drivers. Final presentation for this year for British Championship. Some great racing out there. It wasn't completely incident-free, but it was good. But we're going to move on, taking bottom step on the podium, 30 points away with them today to add to their championship bid, was Edward Sibbald. Taking second place on the podium, not able to catch the race leader in the second race again. 32 points added, Christian Kelly. But taking the top step, 40 points, 2 race wins, it's Luke Bennett. Okay, so we then move on to the championship standings. So just want to add, just missing out on the podium by 6 points, despite overtaking Christian on that previous race was Edward Sibbald. So well done there, 4th place, just off the podium for the championship. Good effort. But finishing 6 points ahead, bottom step on the podium was John Curry. Second place on the podium and consistently up there, but not quite enough. It was Christian Kelly for second. But taking the top step and taking on veteran sim racers here at the venue. 190 points he finished on, 2 race wins to finish off today's race. It was Luke Bennett. Well done. Okay, so big round of applause for our top 3 championship winners there. Well done. Thank you for everyone taking part in the Clio Cups. We're going to move on to the touring cars next. Full championship listing is already up to date on the website, so you can now see that. Thanks for watching at home, and we'll see you for the next race.